I found out my wife was having an affair from her fitness tracker. Not a text, not lipstick on a collar. A map. I opened the app that syncs her runs, the one we'd set up together on an account I had every right to see. And there it was, the GPS route. The same address every Wednesday night for 4 months. She'd start the run at our house and end it at his. I sat there staring at a little colored line on a map that had quietly recorded the end of my marriage in perfect detail without either of us realizing it. But here's the thing nobody tells you. That map was not the dangerous part of the night. The dangerous part was the move I almost made 20 minutes later. Let me tell you who I am so you know why I get to say this. I'm not a private investigator, and I'm definitely not here to teach you how to spy on anyone. I'm a guy who got handed undeniable proof of the worst thing that ever happened to me, and then, in the next hour, nearly did 3 things that would have turned me from the wronged party into the one holding legal liability. And almost nobody warned me because everyone talks about the discovery, and nobody talks about the 90 minutes after it. And before I go further, the man in this story is a composite, and the details are changed. But every case I'll mention is real, and every legal fact is checkable. Now, I want to be clear about the reframe, because it's the whole video. This is not a story about how women cheat. Men do this exact thing constantly. Some of the most famous cases of people getting caught by a fitness tracker are wives catching husbands. Infidelity isn't a gender, it's a human catastrophe. What I'm handing you is gender-neutral and universal. What to actually do in the hours after you find proof, so the betrayal doesn't cost you your marriage and your legal position, and, in some cases, your freedom. Because the way most people handle that hour is a disaster. I know. I almost lived it. First, let's talk about why this is going to keep happening to more and more people, and why it might be happening around you right now without anyone realizing. We are all wearing tracking devices, voluntarily, and syncing them to accounts we share with the people we love. A fitness tracker isn't a step counter anymore. It's a continuous log of where you are, when, for how long, and even what your heart is doing while you're there. And most couples link these accounts on purpose, to cheer each other on, to compete, to feel close. Nobody sets it up thinking it will one day read like a confession, and then it does. These aren't hypotheticals. There's a widely reported case of a woman who realized her husband was cheating because his running routes kept including stops in one specific neighborhood, where, it turned out, the other woman lived. Because their Garmin and Strava and Fitbit accounts were synced, she could see when they went to bed, what their heart rates were, even the little comments they left on workouts. There's an NFL Network reporter, Jane Slater, who has said publicly that she realized her boyfriend was cheating when his activity level spiked at 4 in the morning. On the Fitbit, they'd synced to motivate each other. There's a woman who went viral describing how she figured out her ex-husband was cheating because his Strava runs would start at their house and end at another woman's house half a mile away. Same story, over and over. The device records a pattern the person forgot they were creating. Because here's what a tracker does that a lying human can't. It doesn't get tired of the lie. It doesn't soften the story to protect your feelings. It just quietly logs the truth. The accelerometer picking up movement at times that don't match the story you were told. The GPS drawing a line that ends somewhere it was never supposed to. And in my case, it drew that line to the same place every Wednesday for 16 weeks. Now, I have to say the honest thing here. The same honest thing I'd say about any single piece of evidence. A pattern is powerful. It is not automatically the whole story. A repeated location could, in theory, be a class, a friend, a support group, a second job. I want you to hold that door open a crack, not because I think it's likely, but because the entire point of this channel is that you do not detonate your life on one data point before you understand it. You've heard me say it before. Get the facts before the decision. But I'll be straight with you about my case. When I laid the map next to the 6 months of gut feelings I'd been explaining away, the phone flipped face down, the Wednesday spin class she got weirdly defensive about, the new perfume for a workout. The map didn't create the suspicion. It ended the argument I'd been having with myself. It took a feeling I kept talking myself out of and turned it into a picture I couldn't unsee. And that is a specific kind of pain. And if you're feeling it right now, I'm sorry. The gut knew. The gut always knew. The device just took away your ability to keep protecting yourself with doubt. So there I was, holding the one thing I'd been terrified of and secretly certain about. Proof. And every instinct in my body stood up at once and told me exactly what to do next. And every single one of those instincts was wrong. Not morally wrong, strategically wrong, in a way that could have cost me far more than the affair already had. Here's what the panic told me to do, in the order it told me. 1. Get more. Open her phone, read the messages, log into her email, her cloud, her socials. I know some of the passwords. We're married. It's basically mine too, right? Get everything, screenshot everything, build the case airtight. 2. Confront. Walk in, drop the phone on the table, watch her face. Make her see that I know. Get the satisfaction, the moment, the truth said out loud. 3. Make her pay. Send the proof to someone, post it, tell his wife, tell everyone. Let the consequences start tonight. Every one of those felt like justice. Every one of those felt strong. And every one of those is a door that, once you walk through it, you cannot walk back out of. And at least 2 of them can turn you, the victim, into a defendant. Because here's what I didn't understand in that moment, and what almost nobody understands until a lawyer explains it to them, usually too late. In the eyes of the law, how you get evidence can matter as much as what the evidence shows. And the instinct to get more, to hack, to log in, to install something, is the instinct that can blow up your entire position. So before you do the thing your whole body is screaming at you to do, I need you to understand what that fitness tracker line actually was, legally, and why it was one of the few pieces of that night I was allowed to have. Because the difference between the map I could use and the phone I was about to break into is the difference between walking out of a divorce protected and walking into a criminal charge holding evidence a judge will never even look at. Let me show you what I mean. This is the part divorce lawyers wish everyone knew before the worst night of their life. Start with the evidence itself, because this is the trap almost everyone falls into. You'd think that proof is proof, that if you can show a judge undeniable evidence of an affair, it counts. It does not automatically count. Courts routinely throw out evidence that was gathered illegally, through unauthorized account access, through spyware, through recording someone without the right to. There's even a doctrine with a name for it, fruit of the poisonous tree. It means that even if what you found is 100% true, the court can refuse to look at it because of how you got it. Now sit with what that means on the worst night. The panic tells you to log into her phone and grab the messages. But there's a federal law, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, that treats unauthorized access to accounts and devices very seriously. And here's the part that stuns people. Knowing your spouse's password does not make your access authorized. Being married does not automatically give you legal permission to be in their private accounts. People have faced real consequences, wiretapping claims, computer fraud exposure, stalking allegations, for doing the exact thing that grief and rage tell you is your right. So picture the disaster in full. You break into the phone. You get airtight proof. You march in and confront. And months later, in a courtroom, that airtight proof gets excluded because you obtained it unlawfully, while you are now the one answering questions about how you accessed her accounts. The affair is legally invisible. Your method is legally visible. You have managed to lose while holding a full house. And here's the cruel irony that saved me. The one piece of evidence I actually had a right to, the fitness tracker on an account we shared that I was authorized to see, was worth more than everything the panic wanted me to steal. Legally obtained beats undeniable but illegal every time. The quiet, boring, authorized data point is gold. The dramatic, screenshotted, hacked one is a liability. That is the exact opposite of what your instincts tell you. So what do you actually do? Here's what the lawyers and the counselors converge on, and it is almost insultingly calm. First, and I know how this sounds, you take care of yourself before you take a single action. Because right now your brain is in crisis mode, and crisis mode makes decisions out of fear, not logic. The experts are blunt about it. Go scream in your car, feel the pain, let it move through you. But do not let the version of you that exists in the first hour make a permanent decision. Some counselors say give it a week before you decide anything about the relationship at all. Second, talk to a divorce lawyer before you confront, not after. Before you tip your hand, before you say a word, before you gather one more thing. Because the moment your spouse knows that you know, everything changes. Accounts get closed, money moves, the story gets coordinated. You want a strategy and a plan in place first. When in doubt about whether you can even look at something, you ask the lawyer before you act, not after. Third, protect your financial position. Quietly gather what you legally can about the marital estate, what you own, what you owe, where it all is. Because a divorce is, among other brutal things, a financial event, and the person who understands the numbers before the war starts is the person who doesn't get destroyed by it. And here's the one that connects to everything I've ever told you on this channel. In most states, we have no-fault divorce, which means, brace yourself, the affair, the map, the 4 months of Wednesdays very often does not change the settlement at all. Proving she cheated frequently gets you nothing financially. So the rage confrontation, the one that feels like justice, it doesn't win you the divorce. It just detonates your leverage, and if you gathered wrong, your legal standing. You are not being asked to be a saint. You're being asked to be strategic in the exact moment you least want to be. Because strategy is the only thing that protects you when the person who was supposed to protect you just became the other side. And I want to say the humbling part, because it's true. Part of me wanted the explosion, wanted to be the wronged man delivering justice. And that hunger for the dramatic moment instead of the smart one is its own kind of trap. The affair was her betrayal, but the decision to blow up my own future to feel powerful for 10 minutes, that one would have been all mine. So let me tell you what I actually did with that map, because it was the hardest, least satisfying, most important thing I've ever done. I closed the app. I did not open her phone. I did not confront her that night. I went and sat in my car, the classic move, apparently, and I let myself fall apart where no one could see it. And then, the next morning, before I said a single word to her, I called a lawyer. And that quiet, uncinematic sequence, close the app, feel the pain, call the professional, is the thing that let me walk out of the next year with my dignity and my finances intact, instead of walking out of it as a cautionary tale. Here's the quiet moment I want you to sit in. It wasn't the map. The map was almost easy. It was just information. and some part of me had been braced for it for months. The real test of that whole terrible night was whether I could hold the most painful knowledge of my life for 12 hours without letting it turn me into someone who acts on rage instead of on a plan. Because that's what betrayal really does, if you let it. It doesn't just take the marriage. It tempts you into a second act of self-destruction, one that you author, where you break the law, or blow your leverage, or trade your entire future for one satisfying moment of confrontation. The affair was done to me. The second disaster would have been done by me. And the only thing standing between those two was the decision to treat the map as evidence instead of as a detonator. I want to say this as plainly as I can to whoever needs it tonight. If you are holding your version of that map right now, a route, a receipt, a text you weren't supposed to see, I am so sorry. The gut knew, and now you know, and it is a special kind of awful. But hear me on this one thing. The discovery already happened. You can't change it. The only thing still in your control is the next 90 minutes. And the strongest, most powerful thing you can do in those 90 minutes is nothing dramatic at all. It's to protect yourself, quietly, legally, strategically, and to refuse to let the person who broke your trust also trick you into breaking your own future. The map recorded the end of my marriage. It did not get to write the end of my life. That part I kept. So if you take nothing else from a stranger who nearly turned his own tragedy into his own crime, take these in this order. First, do not confront tonight. I know, everything in you wants the moment, but your crisis brain is not who should be making permanent decisions. Take care of your heart first. Take a beat, a day, a week. The affair isn't going anywhere, and neither is your right to respond well. Second, do not gather more by breaking in. The instinct to hack the phone, the accounts, the cloud can turn you from victim to defendant and can make even true evidence useless in court. How you get it matters as much as what it shows. The boring, authorized, legally clean data point beats the dramatic stolen one every time. Third, call a lawyer before you say a word and protect your financial position quietly. Understand what the evidence can and can't do where you live, because in a no-fault state, proving the affair may change nothing about the settlement. Strategy is your protection now. This is a map, not legal advice. Talk to a lawyer in your state. The device didn't just catch a cheater. It caught me, too. In the moment I was about to become someone I'd regret. And the discipline to close the app instead of opening the phone is the whole difference between surviving this and compounding it. So let me ask you, what's the move your gut is screaming at you to make right now that a lawyer would tell you to wait 24 hours on? Be honest. Drop it below.